Wonderful humans, welcome. For some of you that are watching, we have just jumped over from Instagram to be here. My name is Abby Adams. I am the founder of Project Woman, a female health founder. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I just bloody love women understanding what their bodies are capable of by bringing together all of my wonderful experience through studying the body, movement, hormones, exercise, life. And this is exactly what this wonderful woman does as well. This is Liz Reddish, aka Wellhouse, Devon Wellhouse. And we've just been sitting on Instagram starting Liz's female health consultation, the way that a female health consultation should be undertaken. Liz, welcome, my darling. It's lovely to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ugh, always a pleasure. Would you like to give us a little intro before we resume our female health consultation?
Sure. Thank you, Abby. Yeah, so I'm Liz Reddish, founder of Wellhouse, based in Devon. So all my socials are under Devon Wellhouse and my website as well. I, like Abby, qualified as a functional kinesiologist, I don't know how many years ago, but we did together. And that was on top of me training as a Touch for Health kinesiologist and instructor. So I teach as well and mentor. So I am super excited about bringing about balance and connecting people back to their own bodies and striking that communication between that we have within us, really, and the beauty of kinesiology is it really gives that feedback. So so that's really what I do. I'm really passionate about empowering people around their health and well-being, and part of that is informing them. So I am doing some collaborative events with other health professionals and currently running a series on menopause. So yes, here I am. Very excited to be here on a personal journey.
Because we're going through Liz's female health consultation. We want to show you. We had this idea that we wanted to show you what real, honest, heartfelt feminine support is. Please don't be distracted or triggered by the word feminine. It's a word that encompasses, I feel, women, females, humans with a uterus. It is that side of your health that supports menstrual cycle, perimenopause, menopause. And this is what we want to go into. So I'm just going to recap. I asked Liz how she felt about her body, which was really interesting because there was a superficial and then there was a deeper belief behind that. We then went in and looked at her menstrual cycle. She told me how long her cycle was. She shared some interesting facts around ovulation and menstruation, which has given me some food for thought as to how to direct this when I see Liz in person. She also shared some symptoms that she has, which is underlying autoimmune issues. And we've also gone into any medication or supplementation that she's taking. And we finished with, on Instagram, what is her emotional go-to? What's her go-to emotion? And she said it's frustration. And the reason that I asked that is because the way that you react is exactly the same way you will react in regards to receiving good health. Now, Liz brought up that she felt frustrated. Now, if you are constantly frustrated, your fight and flight is on, and that doesn't enable you to digest efficiently. Now, isn't that interesting? So you can be taking all of the greatest supplements in the world, you can be doing all the great exercise, but if you are constantly set at that fight and flight in that emotional zone, it's very hard to your cells to actually regenerate, receive, and digest. So we're starting to paint this really great way of going forward for Liz. So next, I've got my little list here so that I don't miss anything. Can you describe eating, Liz? So your breakfast, your lunch, your dinner, and your snacks and your fluids. What does that look like on a day-to-day basis?
So my day starts with, actually, I probably should mention that in terms of supplements, I always forget them, but I have a kind of hair and skin collagen type elixir thing, and Fizz Stick. It's a company that I've used for a while, which is like a little energy power fizz drink before I get up and out with my dogs. I get out for a good bit of exercise, and I come back and I have a peppermint tea, and then I have a protein smoothie. So I have mixed berries and cherries and avocado and spinach and chia seeds and maybe some oats with some unsweetened almond milk and some. I do cheat a bit, I'm afraid, but I do love it. It's the Sun Warrior protein powder, which goes in there to balance it all out, and that really sets me up for the day. And then I have one cappuccino with oat milk with a little squeeze of honey. I'm not going to lie. And then that kind of sets me up until lunchtime, which is usually some form of, I don't know, tuna maybe with some sweet potato and salad and a bit of butter. I'm a bit of a mayonnaise fan, I'm afraid. That's my guilty pleasure. And then then I'm probably will have a snack around 4ish, 5ish, and I'll often have some apple and nut butter or something like that. And then I'll have a really decent meal, supper, which again is pretty balanced with protein, fat, carbs, and loads of salad or extra veg. And I try and kind of keep it to that, really. Sometimes I'll have an extra snack before I go to bed. Again, a similar sort of, I don't know, thing with hummus and some dips, or, hummus and crackers or something like that.
Cool. So the one thing that I want to just reach out with, or what I'm being pulled to with Liz, is the oat milk and the mayonnaise. Now, I am a mayonnaise lover. It's that and olive oil, like as a dressing. I absolutely love them. But what I want you to be aware of is on the label at the back, do they have rapeseed oil in them? Now, it is incredibly hard. Drop me pen. It is incredibly hard to find any, what's the word I'm looking for, dressing without the rapeseed, the corn oil, the sunflower oil in it. But what we now know is that this is omega-6. And if we're looking for balance within an autoimmune or any form of inflammation, bringing that down as much as possible is really important. So just a note, Liz, in regards to oat milk, I know it's incredibly difficult to find a decent milk that doesn't curdle, because that's disgusting.
Yeah, nobody likes curdly coffee.
Do you remember back in the day when all of these milks came out and it was like, yeah, I'm going to try this. Oof. And you'd go and make your tea in the afternoon and you pour it in and it looked like a cat had vomited in your cup.
Yeah.
It's absolutely revolting. So I appreciate that. The one that works for me is the Rude Health coconut milk. Okay. That is the best one that I find that doesn't curdle. Best one.
Not great with coconut, interestingly.
Oh, really? Okay. Mm-hmm. In terms of what does make you feel good, or you have a reaction?
Yeah, I just find it doesn't make me feel good, and it's gut-wise I'm definitely got some sensitivity there. I mean, I get away with the odd Thai curry, but I tend to avoid coconut outside of that.
Isn't that well? So that leads me on to another in regards to the kind of fats that Liz can consume. Liz, do you have butter?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel on butter?
Good.
You're fine on that. No repercussions. Okay. Good on butter. Right. Okay. Awesome. Do you have any mercury fillings?
No.
No mercury fillings. What has mercury fillings got to do with female health, I hear you cry? A lot. Without going too deep now, mercury fillings infiltrate the energy of the brain, as well as your thyroid. Now, your thyroid, which is here, you've got the thyroid and the parathyroid. This is all about metabolism, but it plays a major role in your sexual health. And when I say sexual health, I mean sex hormones, which create your menstrual cycle. But what I want to elaborate on here is that they do not just create a menstrual cycle. They actually create a fully functioning, happy body. So they are paramount in everything. And mercury fillings, research has shown, can impact the way that iodine is absorbed within the throat. So if you are going through menopause and you are on any form of medication, I'd be very curious as to address that, because it might not be giving you the greatest impact and support that you're looking for. Okay, so no mercury fillings. What skincare brands do you use, Liz?
I have been using Arbonne, actually, skincare.
Okay. Okay, great. So we're looking at reduction in the chemicals is there. We know that Arbonne are organic, so that's great. We can also touch on hair as well, and also the cleaning products that Liz uses within our home, because again, we're looking to reduce the toxicity as much as possible and knowing what our options are there. So what does that look like, Liz?
So that's an area that I have struggled with, actually. My hair is it's definitely, I've tried the Arbonne stuff and it doesn't really suit me. So I've actually gone very bog standard, I'm afraid, with Tesco's. I find that the best thing for me is just having a bit of whatever. I keep circulating it, whatever's sort of on offer.
Yeah, cool. All right, Donna,
So
nice one.
yeah, that is an area that I haven't managed to kind of clean up, as it were.
So if you reach out to Kirsty Sheriff on the Project Woman Collective, she is the founder of Pink's Boutique, which is an amazing organic skincare brand, but also her advice on shampoo is phenomenal because she has sourced. And anyone part of the Project Woman Collective gets 25% off with Pink's Boutique. There we go.
Cool.
So we've looked at that. Brilliant. What have we got here? We've covered food, so we're aware of any sensitivities. We've covered
gluten and sugar-free.
Brilliant. Now, do you suffer from any digestive issues?
So when I am, this is a good question. I have chronically suffered over the years. So it's my Achilles heel when things get out of balance. When, generally speaking, I'm well, and I would say no. But that's where I tend to feel it if stress is part of the circuit or whatever. So as I become more sensitive, it's like you say, you can be eating all the right things, and if you're stressed to the eyeballs, it will still play into your circuit. So that tends to be where I feel it.
And when you are stressed, what's the expression? Is it constipation? Is it diarrhea?
Tends to be constipation, yeah. And my ileocecal valve will often go offline.
I love that, offline. Everything's being referred to so techie these days, isn't it? It's the only way people understand. Okay, constipation. And is there a habit of your stress?
Habit of my stress.
In terms of, so as an example, if I use me, I now see that I get constipated around ovulation and before menstruation. So again, I'm looking at, right, so there is a massive correlation here. So I know, okay, there's things that I need to implement and perhaps things that I need to take out around this time that doesn't lead me to feeling so constipated.
Yeah, I'd definitely say it used to be very much prior my menstruation. Not so much these days. Yes, there's probably a slight difference.
Okay.
I think because it's become so much better, I haven't been so aware of it. So probably if I was to track it more consciously, then yeah, there would be slight changes.
It'd be awesome. So perhaps we can look at that when you join again the success and the sacred sessions, Liz, and we look at that little diary to see where that constipation is flicking up.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. Okay, how often do you open your bowels?
Daily, at least.
Daily. Awesome. We love a daily flush.
Yeah.
And do you experience or suffer any pain or discomfort anywhere in your body?
As a whole, no.
What about as an individual? I like my ears was like, not as a whole. Is this a
No, but I just, yes, there are times when things creep in and creep out, but do you know what? I don't, I'm not a pain. I don't suffer, and I always feel so grateful for that.
Nice. Can you fight infection, or do you succumb to colds easily?
No, super well.
Say that again, Donna.
Super well.
Super well. Awesome. No colds. Okay. How energetic do you feel throughout the day?
I'm bouncing generally, but I'm very good at jumping onto my adrenals. So it's a really interesting one, isn't it? I find energy is, for me, am I feeling genuinely energized, or am I just feeling a little bit manic? I don't. It can vary, but actually, I'm so excited about life generally. It's I don't. There was a time when I used to literally fall asleep on my clients when I was in my ME days, and so compared to that, I just feel like I'm on cloud nine really with my energy.
I love that. I love that. And I can totally relate to Liz on this, because there is this zest for life that can only come from when you are really looking after yourself and you've got all of those points clicked into place, especially the emotional perspective. I feel that this is really, really important. But what I love about Liz is that she understands that at a certain point she could be living on her adrenals, and that we want to look at that throughout her cycle, because at certain points, if she's feeling that high energy on a constant basis, where is Liz finding her rest? We have to find that rest. It's very important. And what I believe now is that you don't have to pocket it in one place in the menstrual cycle. You can take it wherever you need to. And that allows for that consistent energy, not so much of a flux.
Sure.
Okay, so how do you know what, this is so sweet. I asked this to someone the other day, how do you go to sleep? And they said on their left side. I think I need
Oh,
to I think I need to reframe this question, because I totally get where they're coming from. But how do you enter sleep, Liz? Do you find it easy? Are you up for a long time? Does your brain run over? What works for you?
I'm a early to bed, early to rise kind of girl, and so when I get into bed, it's like heaven, and I just go, oh, clunk, pass out. So yeah, no, I'm very fortunate from that point of view. Sleep has always been an easy thing for me.
Brilliant. All right, my darling. And how do you wake up? Well, you've just said easy to wake up in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there are times, if I'm honest, which I've experienced in more recent years, where my sleep has been less consistent. I mean, I always used to be that person that would fall asleep and then I'd wake up in the morning. I've definitely had more times where I have had broken sleep, and it's when you wake up then in a place of, your mind being busy or whatever. That's when I've been more, that's when I've struggled then to go back to sleep. And then, of course, when you do wake up, you feel like you haven't had that full night. So I've always been somebody who's needed my sleep.
Yeah.
And I'd, in an ideal world, I'd have sort of 10 hours sleep. that's my
Right.
happy place.
Love it. I feel you. Early to bed. I love to rise with the sun. Just makes me feel good. Beautiful. Okay. What does your movement/exercise look like?
So I get up and out every morning for, I guess, up to an hour with my dogs, which involves, quite a good stomp, I would say. I used to run, I don't anymore actually, but I make sure I walk with vigor and incorporate quite a lot of hills. One morning a week, I swim in the sea, my friend. And when I say swim in the sea, I wouldn't say the swimming is the main part of it. It's more about getting in the sea, submerging myself, and then coming back out again. But that is another part of my exercise. What I definitely am aware of is the need to start doing a bit more weight bearing stuff. So that's something
Okay.
I'm sort of incorporating.
Right, so this is something that I can support Liz on, and we can create a really great and easy to access and build on program for Liz to really enjoy, because power yields so many benefits. And again, coming back to those emotions, so strength training. Okay, nice one, Liz. All right. So you've already said that there's sometimes that you get some headaches around menstruation. We've got that down, but there's no migraines, is there, that you experience?
No.
Okay. And we have covered stress. We've looked at that. There are times, and can we have a look at that, Liz? Would you mind just starting to chart if there is a habit there for your stress and when it arises? Because by the sounds of things, you know, you're eating really well, you're taking on the right fluids, but we all get stressed. I'd like to see if there's pockets of time that they consistently come up in. So that's something that I'd like you to look at until we meet each other.
Okay.
And then, how frequently do you urinate? How often do you go to the toilet?
Good question. I don't at night at all.
Brilliant.
I mean, when I'm working, I go between every client, I suppose, but I partly out of habit, probably. So that's what, every hour and a half.
Okay.
But I'm drinking.
Yep. But I can see why you don't want to be going to the toilet when you're in the middle of a client, do you? That's the only thing.
That's really why I do it. But yeah, I mean, I probably 5 or 6 times a day, 7 maybe max.
What's really important here is that Liz isn't waking up going to the toilet throughout the night, because this would imply, okay, we can really see some stress coming out there. But that's all good. Right, and our final question, Liz. What would you like to gain from our session when we see each other next week or the week after, whenever it is we're seeing?
So I would really like to connect more with what it is to be a female, coming from a very kind of conventional background, and where I think I shared with you the other day, it is my duty and joy kind of expression. Kind of the internal battle of where my responsibilities lie, what it means to actually, you know, fulfill me as an individual, and those sort of layers around that. I think what I'm really noticing is this sort of slight hormonal shifts that are going on through this initial perimenopausal experiences. Actually, I'm feeling quite excited by it, in that it's really bringing up some quite powerful emotions, which they don't feel like I'm unhinged in it, but actually they're giving me a bit more of my own kind of confidence to stand in my own power and so on. So it's just building on all of that, really. And I think connecting into those cycles, connecting into those habits, understanding myself a bit more around that would be really helpful. And then channeling it in a way that's really positive in me and my life, I guess, going forwards. Sustainability, Abby, is always my thing.
What I hear is strategy, how we can implement this, how we can action it, and how we access it. Ooh, boom. Well, that was blooming marvelous. Thank you, Liz.
Thank
is there
you
anything
very
else
much
you want to add for that, darling?
No, I'm quite surprised that the emotion that came up was frustration. I wasn't expecting that. When I start overthinking it, I start trying to make it other things, but I'm going to roll with it and see what what comes. Never used to be my default, so yeah, it does feel like it's coming through a bit more.
But it's a very I don't want to normalize it, but it is an emotion that almost comes with perimenopause, I'm finding, because we're coming back to that they call it the second puberty. Laura Brydon calls it the second puberty, where the estrogen is untethered. So there's that fire that rises up in us. So there can be that frustration, because it's almost like we're shedding another skin. So I think let's look at this in a really positive light, and let's see how we can cultivate that frustration into a really strong expression that gets you where you want to be. And I
Yeah.
think that's like the focus of that. So I'll make a note of that as well.
Sounds amazing. Thank you.
So thank you so much for joining me, Liz. And thank you for watching us. We hope that you have seen and felt what a female health consultation should look like, because it's all about you. And to really get to the core of what is going on, you've got to have a really good conversation about it in a really confident space. And this is what Liz and I offer. This is what we believe everybody deserves. And if this is something that has piqued your curiosity, obviously get in contact with Liz and I, but come and join us on the Project Woman Collective, because we are changing the conversation around female health, and that includes you. All right, my darlings, take it easy. And we will see you. It is next week, Liz, isn't it?
It is next Wednesday, isn't it? We're getting together.
We're going to be filming our in-person session for you to get even greater clarity about what it is and what support is for females. All right, my darlings, take it easy.
Have a great rest of the day.